The fate of having a narcissistic parent is a grim one at best, especially when you're sensitive and kind and caring, because they're going to take advantage of your solid conscience and your kind and good heart every single time. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the worst thing that narcissistic parents do to their children. I'm actually going to talk about 5 of the worst things, but the very worst one I'm going to be saving for the very end of this video. So please watch until the end so that you can really understand that, having been through it myself and having worked with so many clients who've been narcissistically abused by their parents and by mates and friends and coworkers and bosses. Please stay tuned because I know what this is like, and I've helped a lot of people with this as well. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth. I am a transpersonal psychologist, a holistic nutritional chef, and a best-selling author. And what I do is I help ACONs, adult children of narcissists, wounded ACONs, become healed icons. And what's an icon? An icon is independent, confident, original, and naturally you. And I want to help you become the icon of your own life. And I do this with my online courses and my one-on-one work, coaching and therapy with my clients, and my whole person integration technique, emotional release therapeutic technique. All right, so let's get to it. So the first thing that parents do, narcissistic parents do, is that they steal your self-worth. They steal your own personal value. And one of the ways that they do this on the regular is that they criticize you, they put you down, and they keep making you question your own value. In fact, they take it away from you. They don't even allow you to develop your own value. They don't allow you to search in your own self to see what's good about you. And they're not going to support that. They're not going to point out like, hey, you're awesome at that, unless, of course, it benefits them. And it's always going to feel weird to you when it benefits them. It's not going to feel genuine because it isn't. It's not about you. It's about them. That is the call of the narcissist everywhere you go. It's all about me. That's the call of the narcissist. Number 2 is they steal your self-expression. Your self-expression belongs to you and you alone. And one of the ways they do steal your self-expression is by taking credit for you and how great you are if you're great at something they approve of. If you're great at things that they don't approve of, they may completely ignore you, they may put you down, or totally just dismiss how good you are at something, or just try to make you question your talents, your skills, your abilities, make you question yourself and doubt yourself constantly. It's a huge part of narcissistic personality disorder. And one of the things that's going on with the narcissistic parent is that they are constantly feeling jealousy and envy. And especially in the covert narcissistic parent, they feel jealous of their own children, jealous of their own spouse. And so if they usurp them in any way and make them feel less than in any way, that person is going to be punished. And so that is a really hard thing to deal with when you are the child. You know, this is your parent. They're supposed to be loving you and protecting you and bringing out your self-expression, bringing out what's best in you, but they're busy crushing it and putting it down because they're so uncomfortable with their own shame and their own jealousy and their own envy. They're driven by those emotions, by those negative emotions. And so it makes you feel bad because they're putting that all off on you and your siblings and your other parent if you are in a family like that. The third thing that narcissistic parents do is they destroy self-trust. So self-trust, that ability to hear your own inner voice, to be able to hear your intuitive inner voice that's yours. It's specifically designed for you to help you. They destroy that, and they actually make you use your intuition, and you probably have a heightened sense of intuition if you're sensitive and empathic, and you had a narcissistic parent, because you were constantly listening and feeling for what's going to happen next. But you used your intuitive abilities to tune into what's wrong in the room. And you may continue to be doing that. If you are, then you're an empath who's just absorbing all of this energy into you, all of this. And you feel like you're a sponge who gets overloaded by all of the stimulation of everything that's going on around you. Every room you go into, you're going to feel the negativity in the room. You're going to feel the most negative person in the room because you've been attuned to that. But the good news is you don't have to stay in that space. You don't have to be a slave to that for the rest of your life. So you can build self-trust and you can learn how to attune to the total opposite energy in the room and the opposite energy in the people around you, because it's there. And it's just, you've been programmed, you've been trained to think a certain way and be a certain way and react a certain way. So it cuts you off from your intuitive abilities, and your intuition may be used only to distinguish the fear in the room, what's to be afraid of, and staying away from what's to be afraid of. And so you're not really using your intuition, your empathy, and your sensitivity for things that can really benefit yourself and others, but you can be trained to do that. And that's one of the things that I do in the work that I do. Specifically, if you're a coach, a therapist, a healer, and you're like an empathy overload and you feel drained by your clients, I do have an online course and coaching program for you called Evolving Intuition, Building Self-Trust for Life. And that's a group program. But let me get on with it. The links are going to be in the description below and in the comments below so that you can apply for that program and learn more about how you can also get certified in whole person integration technique, which is the technique that helps to release the emotions from the physical body. Okay, so let's get on with it. The fourth thing that they do is they weaken the physical body. So emotions will weaken your physical body over time. And so they're throwing shame, they're throwing guilt, they're throwing jealousy, they're throwing envy, all of these things at you all the time. These are all the emotions that they are not going to deal with. That's all your fault. It's all your problem. So it's like the ultimate blame shifting. They're taking their own emotional state and they're shifting it onto you. So you're basically getting blamed for all of their shame, for all of their guilt. And so that's a big part of what you're sponging in, as I mentioned, and a big part of what you're taking on. So what happens is it weakens the physical body. It weakens your immune system. And your immune system and the work that I do is your inner child. That is in the second center of the human energy system, also known as the gut. And that is the second, that is the gut-brain axis that you hear about so much in science today, and the gut flora and how that gets destroyed. Well, when your immune system is down, your gut flora will become destroyed and you'll be more vulnerable to illnesses of all kinds. And trust me, I had over a dozen illnesses myself, and having been through narcissistic abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse as a child, I was so sick by the time I was in my 20s. And I know that this is the story of a lot of people that are listening to me right now. And you're starting to understand that, oh, wait a minute, that emotional experience, those beliefs that I formed during those experiences are being held in your body, and they're creating all kinds of distress for you, and they can be creating illness in your body. So that emotional stress, because emotions have a huge charge. And if you have shame, for instance, which is the most dense emotion there is, it's actually been measured. And it vibrates at one of the lowest frequencies that there is, at about 20 hertz. Very, very low frequency. It's very dense. And so you've taken on all this shame, you've built up your own shame, and you've taken on the shame of your narcissistic parent, and that will make you sick over time. But the good news is, again, you don't have to hold on to that. You don't have to hold on to the beliefs that are associated with all of this shame, and you can learn how to release that, to let it go, so that you can get to you, which is the most important part of you. And this brings me to number 5. And number 5, which I think is the worst thing that narcissistic parents do to their children, whether they do it purposely or quite unwittingly through their unconscious behaviors, they destroy your identity. Your identity, that's your sense of self, the sense of knowing who you are. what you're meant for, what your life purpose is. All of those things are wrapped up in your identity. And your personal self-expression points you towards that. Your self-worth, your confidence, all of that points you towards your sense of identity. And identity, I've heard so many of my clients say over the years, I don't know who I am. I have no sense of identity. I have no sense of me. And so, what you'll probably feel, what most ACONs are feeling, is an overarching sense of anxiety, an overarching sense of fear and guilt and shame, and they'll feel depressed. I know I had chronic low-grade depression. I was diagnosed with that at one point, and I don't have it anymore. Um, and you don't have to be a slave to that. In fact, I've worked with clients before who were able to get their depression diagnosis thrown out no longer because they were able to release the emotional weight that they have been carrying for decades, their emotional weight and the emotional weight that the narcissistic parent was also carrying. And so when they released that weight, they were also able to release the anxiety, the fear, and that depression. And as they got more in touch with themselves, with who they really are, who they're really meant to be, then they were able to gain their own personal identity. It's through your identity and living that identity in the world, being that person who you were meant to be and who you always knew yourself to be, because you have that sense of knowing that comes from your intuition. It's inside of your own heart, and only you know that. Only you can feel that, but you've been really disconnected from that. Your identity gets crushed by your narcissistic parent. They don't want you to be yourself. They don't want you to be the strong, independent, confident person you can be, should be, that is your birthright to be. They don't want you to be that because then they can't control you and get you to do everything that they want you to do for them. Because again, it's all about them. So finding your own true identity, that's something I help my clients with. And if you need help with everything that I've talked about in this video today, there are a couple of ways that you can work with me. You can work with me one-on-one, where you can get down to the specifics and transform rapidly. I watch my clients transform rapidly. The work that I do is exactly what helped heal me, like really catapulted me into the healing, the level that I'm at today. And then I continue working on, as I often say, as long as you're in a body, the fun never stops. So book a free call with me in the links below to work with me directly. And then that's a free consultation. We can learn if we're a good fit for each other. And another way that you can work with me is you can work on my online course. It's healing the 5 primary wounds of parental narcissistic abuse. And that's a self-study course that is on demand. So you can just get it right away. That's also in the links below. And you can work with everything I talked about today, your self-expression, your personal identity, your self-trust. You can work with all those 5 areas that I talked about today. On your own, you've got visualizations that also help you with whole person integration technique and a meditation that will help you with that as well. You also have the 5 primary beliefs, the negative core beliefs that I see over and over and over again with ACONs. And the course is designed to be used over and over and over again. So you're going to get a lot for your money out of this course if you feel like you don't have enough money to work with me directly, or if you prefer to do a self-study course and learn more to see if you may want to work with me later, great. But go check it out. Again, it's in the links below. And you can go to my website for free gifts as well, for 52 ways to tell if your parent is a narcissist. That's also on my website. And that's a free checklist to see that list. When they see that list in front of you and go, whoa. Now, and know that when you identify that your parent was a narcissist or highly narcissistic, and you watch a ton of videos and all of that, that's great. Those are important because that helps you connect you with the truth, but that's only step one. And just know that. So you will need to do some work on yourself in order to really heal all of those areas that I talked about today. Those are the 5 primary wounds of parental narcissistic abuse. And I can help you with all of those. And if I'm not a good fit for you, I can connect you with somebody who might be a better fit for you, because I'm very well networked with a lot of different practitioners. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth. I thank you so much for watching this video. And please comment in the comments below and anything that you would add to this video, any questions you might have for me. I do get back to as many comments as I possibly can. I might be a little slow, but I will get there. And again, I thank you so much for listening, and I hope this information will help you get well now.